Proverbs 17:6 says, children's children are the crown of old men, and the glory of children are their fathers. What a verse. This is one of 10 times that phrase, children's children, occurs in your Bible. Then 6 times God refers to your son's son, and those phrases are God's way of referring to grandchildren. Now, allow me to take that word crown, C-R-O-W-N, and use it as an acrostic to communicate key Bible truths to all grandparents about the crowning privileges of grandparenting. Number 1, the letter C, commit yourself to making a positive spiritual impact on the life of each grandchild. Just like God chose parents for their children and children for their parents, so God also chose grandparents for their grandchildren and grandchildren for their grandparents. And God gave commands and instructions to grandparents. In Deuteronomy 4:9, God said, only take heed to thyself, and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. Whatever God has taught you and me about His Word and truth and wisdom and God and life itself, we are given the responsibility to pass that on to our children and grandchildren. Think right now. What do you know about God and His Word that your grandchildren may not know? God says plainly, teach them. You say, I don't know how to teach. The truth is, there is never a time you're around your children and grandchildren that you are not teaching them. You're teaching with your words and with your life. Notice what is not an option for a grandparent: to follow the world's culture and laughingly say, well, I raised my kids, now they can raise theirs. Our culture actually subtly encourages grandparents to retreat from life and spend their later years playing. The moment you say or think that way, you cut yourself off and your children from the blessings God has planned for both of you. None of us may be able to stop ourselves from entering our second childhood, but we should not go there on purpose. Retire from your job if you must. Do not retire from life. Larry Fowler wrote a grandparenting declaration. He said, I am an intentional Christian grandparent. Culture says, retire and go play. I say, no thanks, I will pray. Culture says, pursue affluence. I say, I'll pursue influence. Culture says, you're old, you did your time. I say, not so, I'm in my prime. Culture says, those young generations, you can't relate. I say, it ain't true. My influence is great.